All right, so let's start with the numbers. It's gonna be 12 foot long, 36 inches wide, weighs 131 pounds assembled, right? This thing has a 565 pound total weight capacity. So you really have a 420 pound usable capacity. I personally like to subtract 20%. So this is a pretty substantial 12-foot fishing kayak, right? And at 131 pounds is definitely not light. So we'll come back to that. But first, let's go bow to stern and look at some of the features. So starting up front, you got this large bow hatch right here. It's gonna give you enclosed gear storage and access inside the hull. You've also got a bow mount motor ready platform right here. It's got the universal 4-hole insert pattern. There's a through hull wiring port right there, which makes it much cleaner trolling motor or electronics installation right down in there. Throughout the kayak, you got approximately 150 inches of aluminum accessory track. So underneath the kayak, you guys gotta see that here. Old Town uses its double U hull. And then you've got the heart of the kayak. Let's head back up here. Oh yeah, in case you guys wondered, my bed extender, I've been using them alone for a while now. Thing's a beast. All right, now we got the heart of this kayak, which is going to be the PDL drive. So with instant and forward reverse, steering is handled through the side mounted rudder control. It actually extends here. I just lost mine before I could even install it. You have Old Town's element seating system. You have horizontal rod storage for up to 4 rods, 1, 2, 3, 4. I actually use those on the way over. You got a round stern hatch back here. This is going to give you additional hull access for wiring and electronics. At the stern, you have these guys right here. These are going to be 2 4-hole mounting points designed for things like shallow water anchors or electric motors. The rudder system is included, and the PDL drive is saltwater ready. And Old Town actually backs that drive with a 5-year warranty. So I fished this for about a year now. So let's start handing out some ratings. First, let's talk about the hull and stability. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10, right? Underneath the kayak, like I shared, the double U hull. This is one of those kayaks you can stand in and be honest with you, like I'm not thinking a whole lot about my balance. This thing's pretty darn stable. I can kind of turn around, I'm not worried a whole lot about being tippy or anything like that. So big fan there. It's got a nice width, but width alone doesn't determine stability, right? You got hull shape, weight distribution, seat height, and where you carry your weight. All these things play a role when it comes to stability, but at 36 inches wide in this hull design, the PDL Pro feels planted. I can stand, I can cast, I can turn around, I can reach behind me, I can fight fish, and I'm not constantly thinking about the kayak underneath me, because there's a big difference between can I stand in this kayak and do I actually want to stand and fish in this kayak. And the PDL Pro is absolutely a kayak I would stand and fish out of. Now let's talk about the cockpit and the comfort, right? I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. This cockpit is wide open, plenty of legroom, plenty of standing space, and the element seat is really comfortable. It's not one of those seats you're gonna have to go instantly and go buy a seat pad for. But what I most love about this cockpit is I can move, right? Sit, stand, stretch, change positions. After 8 hours on the water, that is going to matter. So comfort, 9 out of 10. And now let's talk about the PDL drive and pedaling. Man, this PDL drive is the quietest PDL drive I've ever used, right? I've used a bunch of them. You can't even hear it. Like I hear the water slapping more so than I do the pedal drive. Usually you hear the gears grinding together. It's so smooth. Usually the reverse is worse. Kind of hear that, but man, big fan. All right, so you guys might be asking what in the world this thing is. This is a steady stick adapter, and so you can actually put like a graph up here if you wanted to. So if you're interested in that option, because you're really limited on like any type of captain's bridge because you got this pedal drive in the way, and there's nothing that you can do up there unless you ran like some quad rails from there up to there, which is possible, and you can put your captain's bridge up that way. But if you wanted a graph right here, a Garmin Striker 4, you can buy this adapter from Steady Stick. Now this drive is arguably the best prop style pedal drive on the market, right? This thing has been around for a decade, debuting in ICAST in 2016. So it's not new, it's proven, it's refined, it's reliable, and of course I love the instant reverse. Pedal forward, go forward. Pedal backwards, go backwards, right? No levers, no switching modes. And when you're fishing docks and laydowns and fighting a big fish, that's huge. If I hook a fish, I can back away from that cover, adjust my position, or simply keep that tension on a fish, all without taking my hands off the rod. And at a 5-year warranty, and the Old Town PDL is still one of the best prop style drives in the business. I give pedaling in this drive a 9.5 out of 10. So now let's talk about rigging, right? This is another area where the Pro does really well. Old Town gives you approximately 150 inches of aluminum accessory track. That's a lot. But for comparison, the new Canoe Unlimited has 264 inches, about 9.5 feet more. So no, the Old Town isn't the most customizable kayak on the market, but 150 inches still gives you a ton of flexibility, right? You can put a fish finder off the side, forward-facing sonar. You can run a camera off the back. You can run a camera off the front, right? You got rod holders up front. You can run rod holders off the side. You got this large bow hatch. You got stern hull access, mounting provisions all throughout the kayak, which means there's more than enough here for most anglers to build this thing around the way that they want to fish. And another big feature, this thing is ready for your bow mounted motor or your stern mounted motor. So you could buy this kayak, fish it completely as a pedal drive, and later decide I want a trolling motor. The infrastructure is already there. So whether or not you want to keep this thing simple or rig it out, you have options on the Sportsman PDL 120 Pro. Now the question is it fast? All right, let's do some startup, see how fast we can get this thing going. All right, a lot of kayak to get moving. Once you get moving, cruise is pretty good. Not too bad, it's not super fast. Cut through the water. Not bad at all. And the answer is no, not really, but you gotta look at what we're dealing with here. It's 36 inches wide, it's heavy. Once you add me and all my gear, there's a lot of weight sitting in the water, and you're gonna feel that when you start pedaling, right? Once you get moving, it cruises just fine. But if speed and efficiency are the top of your list, this probably isn't the kayak I would point you to. Essentially, Old Town traded some speed for stability, capacity, fishability. And for what this kayak is designed to do, I think it's a pretty fair trade. So I'm gonna give speed a 7 out of 10. So now let's talk about maneuverability. All right guys, do a 360-degree spin. See the turning radius on this. So full tilt right. Yeah. You guys kind of see, it took me about 20-25 yards to do 360. So not too bad. I'm gonna give this 7 out of 10. And again, this is where the size and weight starts showing up. 12 feet long, 36 inches wide, heavy. There's a lot of hull sitting in the water. So this thing is not going to turn on a dime. Now the rudder, this beaver style rudder here, is gonna do a good job, and the instant reverse definitely helps when I'm making those tighter adjustments. But around docks and laydowns and that tight cover, you're still managing a pretty substantial kayak, right? It's completely manageable, don't get me wrong, but nimble is not the word I would use here. Now, transport is the elephant in the room, right? 6.5 out of 10. Yes, can you remove the 19-pound PDL drive? Yes, can you remove the 6-pound seat? Yes, but obviously you're stripping out your gear. Could you rooftop it? Sure. Would I want to rooftop it every weekend? Nope. Right? A good heavy-duty cart, a truck bed with a Malone bed extender works just fine. A trailer starts making a lot of sense, but this isn't a kayak I'd buy if my #1 priority was grabbing something lightweight, right, and throwing it on top of the car. So transport, 6.5 out of 10. So now let's talk about build quality. I'm going to give this thing a 9.5 out of 10, and this is one area where some of that weight actually works in Old Town's favor, right? There's a lot of plastic here. This thing feels thick. It feels substantial, right? Nothing about it feels cheap. And more importantly, you just don't hear about Old Town hulls cracking at the same frequency you hear those conversations around other major kayak brands. So if you've been around kayak fishing long enough, you know exactly what brands I'm talking about. But Old Town rotomolds these hulls in Maine using single layer polyethylene and backs the hull with a limited lifetime warranty. So pretty freaking sweet. So now for the room for improvement section. Now normally this is where I start beating up on the kayak a little bit, and honestly I don't have a huge list here, but at $3,599.99 at the time of this shooting, I'm going to be picky. First, more deck padding, right? At this price point, I like padding freaking everywhere I'm going to stand, even where I'm not going to stand, right? In the XTR, even in my Camino Journey I just reviewed, there is deck padding everywhere. The only place you get it here is these two places. Nowhere up front, nowhere in the back. It's just bare plastic. And so I really would love to see Old Town really step up their game when it comes to the deck padding. The second thing I've noticed on here is that there's a little shimmy in the seat frame. You guys kind of see that right there. That's easily fixable. You can just put something in there, wrap some tape around it so it doesn't shimmy anymore. But for $3,600, I like it to be rock solid out of the box. And then finally, more color options. At the time of this review, Old Town only had 2 color options available on their website. Now, none of these are deal breakers, but in the premium kayak category, the little things matter. Final thoughts. Where do I land? At $3,600, the PDL Pro is firmly in the premium kayak category, right? It's not the fastest, it's definitely not the lightest. And if you're throwing your kayak on a roof rack every weekend, this is not going to be the kayak that I point you towards. But if you want stability, comfort, customization, and one of the most proven pedal drives in the business, there is a lot to like here. And listen, I take my recommendations very seriously. I don't hand out buy recommendations freely, because at the end of the day, this is your money. But the Old Town Sportsman PDL 120 Pro actually gets one from me. This is a kayak I feel really good recommending, right? You're getting a solid, proven fishing platform, one that can take a beating, and one that I think if you buy today, you can fish it hard for years. Is it gonna be perfect? No, no kayak is. However, I really feel like you would be happy with your purchase. However, there's some serious competition in the pedal drive category, right? You got the native Titan X Propel, the native Hammer Propel, the Hobie Outback, the Jackson Big Rig FD. So at this price point, the PDL Pro doesn't get a free pass, but it should be on your short list if you're considering buying. Now, if you're shopping in the premium pedal drive category, I got a couple more reviews for you to check out. One right there, one right there. Thanks for watching, guys. See you out in the water.